Hello friends, welcome in. So we are on part 4, hopefully our final part of making our little St. Patty's Day frog. Before going live, I just kind of finished up his arms a little bit here. I added a little bit more to his back, and I actually took my needle and just made kind of like little eyebrows above his eyes. I think that was kind of cute, so I just did that before hopping on live here. But I think he's ready to get his hat and his pot of gold. So that is where we are today. And I think we're going to start with the pot. So I am going to use this mocha color. It's kind of a really dark, deep brown. I didn't want to use a black, and I kind of like this color, so we're going to go with that. And I'm not going to go real elaborate with the coins in our pot. I'm probably just going to fill it in with the gold color, just so we don't spend a lot of time making little coins. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by making a ball, and you could do this with core first, but just for time's sake, we're going to just use our base color and figure out what size we need here. I do apologize in advance that I am still coughing. If you are just joining me and you see the little red live button up in the top, you're watching me live. Otherwise, you're either watching the replay on Facebook or on YouTube. So welcome in. My name is Dawn. If you are new to watching, so just working on a little ball here to start, and then we're going to flatten the top to add our pile of gold. So if you're here, say hi. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to ask. So I'm going to work on flattening. There's one side here that's a little bit more flatter than the other, so I'm going to make that the top. I'm just going to flatten that part. And so what you do to make something flat is you want to keep poking in the same direction all around it. Whereas if you want to make something round, you're changing the direction of your needle to make it look like it's round. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. How are you today? So we're giving this a curve here. That's good. Are you feeling better? I can't get rid of this cough and low energy. Although I think I ended up having the flu because my husband had a doctor's appointment Monday, and he was telling the doctor what I had, and she said, it sounds like the flu type B. I think that's what she said. So I guess it's going around a little bit earlier than it usually does. Usually doesn't show up until after Easter. So that doesn't surprise me. Is it? Yeah, still coughing, still got some post-nasal drip and phlegm. It's worse in the mornings. As the day goes on, I feel better, but still, no energy whatsoever. which is a good thing. Needle felting doesn't take a lot of energy. Hi, Barb. Welcome. How are you today? Glad to see you here. We're just working on our little pot here for our frog to hold. I actually think that's a good size. Now I might need to put him, having the pot, it's going to kind of make him front heavy. No, he does sit. I was going to say I might have to put him on some kind of base, but at the moment he sits, so that's good. We'll see how that continues. So I'm pretty good with that size. So I'm just going to firm this up a little bit more. All good up there in Canada. Good to hear. Yeah, we actually had a pretty good day today. It's gotten cloudy, but we actually hit above 50. And tomorrow it's going to be 31. But most of the snow has melted. Just some piles here and there from where the sun doesn't hit, because I have trees all around my house, and the snowbanks from where my husband plowed. But a good portion of the snow is finally gone. My daffodils and tulips are starting to peek through. Probably still a few weeks before I actually have blossoms. Is it? Yeah, the doctor told my husband that it's going around pretty prevalent. I don't do shots or anything like that. I'm pretty healthy, so I don't tend to get sick or do the flu shots. And other than a few days of feeling absolutely miserable and just dealing with the cough and stuff now, it wasn't too bad. But like my grandkids who supposedly had it, they had like hardly anything. 69 in heavy thunderstorms in Michigan. Ooh, yuck. No snow in Vancouver? Well, that's good. Alright, I'm going to kind of flatten it just a little bit so it doesn't stick out too far. I can bring it down a little bit, but I think that'll work. Okay, so first year with no snow. That is weird. That's because it all came here. It was all in my little town. Alright. So I think I'm going to use, I don't know what this color is. I just happen to have it in my stash. But it was the more gold color that I had. So I think I'm going to use that. And I am going to put like a little lip around the edge here. But first I'm going to just fill this in on the top. And I do want it to be slightly mounded. So I'm going to start with a bit of a pillow here in the center. Sorry. If you're really ambitious, you could make like a whole bunch of little coins, but that's not happening. I might make one or two, we'll see what time we have. So I'm putting this in the very center because I want to kind of build that center up a little bit to make it look like it's mounded. And then we'll fill in around it. You been doing any needle felting, Barb? Okay, if you can see that. Hi, Jeannie. Welcome. Let me guess, you're probably, what, in the 80s or 90s over there? So I'm going to fill around that. Asked to make tiny look-alike figurines for my son's employees. Oh boy. I would love to see those. I am not sure I want to do real people. Was gardening, and yep, 80 right now. Of course, he sent me pictures, and I'm making 4-inch tall figures. You're gonna have to show me when you get them done. Hi, Kate. Spinning yarn today. Ooh, fun. You're not too late. I haven't tried that yet. I don't really have a good place that I could do that either, because I don't have... I'd have to like put a board down or something, because I only have carpeting in my house. I don't think it would work very well on my carpeting. I might extend that out a little bit more, but I'm going to put a little rim around the top of this first. And so to do that, well, I pulled a little bit more there than I wanted. I'm going to tease some of this out. Hopefully I get enough to go all the way around. And I'm going to start to felt it together. I might need a little bit more, we'll see. Working on your life-size Pomeranian. Ooh. I want to see that when you get it done. I have to show you guys, I finished up my little bee that I made for my niece. I'll have to show you that here in a second. Do it all the way down and double use of wool. Gotcha. And then I also made a little turtle that I think I'm going to do for my next library class next month. Alright, so I'm going to roll this now. Do you needle felt too, Kate, or just do yarn and stuff? Alright, so I'm just trying to get this sort of felted here. And hopefully it's big enough to go all the way around. We're going to cut it close. Alright, so I'm going to run this just around the top edge of our pot. And I got to tell you guys, working with dark colors is not easy. It's kind of why I didn't go with black, but even this brown was a little bit hard to see. I'm just attaching it here at the top at the moment. Sounds like it's raining. Can't tell. Oh, let's see here. Stab things. Okay, nice. Yeah, I still have some eggs. I sold all the ones that I had made in my auction the first part of the week, but I still have some that are made but not decorated. I was debating if I wanted to this weekend decorate them to give to the grandchildren. See how my weekend goes. I want to edit my bee tutorial. So I might need to add another layer to this to make it stick out more. Just want it look like a little lip around our pot here. Yeah, gonna have to add another layer to that. I'm gonna go around this. See if I can get this tilted a little bit more here so that lip shows up better. You know what, Kate? It hid your post. I had to unhide it, and I think it's because you said stab things. Facebook was saying we don't like that word. Alright, so yeah, I need to go around that a little bit more here. So let's do it again. Yeah, I try not to use that word when I'm talking. I try to say poke instead. No, Facebook is rather picky. Come back here. Alright, let's see if this works a little bit better. I got it long enough this time. So we're just going to go right over top of what we did before, just to make it stand out a little bit more. It looks a little big right now, but once I actually get it well felted, it should come down in size. Alright, so I'm back to where I started. I think this is thin enough that I can just go right over that. Hi, Robin. That's okay. I'm glad you're here. Alright, so now I'm gonna get this worked down. Hopefully not to the point that it disappears and just looks like the lip of our cauldron or pot or whatever you want to call it. I might add some more gold to it. How are you doing, Robin? Just going along the edge of it here and getting it as much as I can see it. Nice and well felted. Right. So I'm going to go around underneath it and just kind of poke it in a little bit. Try and kind of give it a curved shape here going up into the lip. I actually broke a needle this morning. I was on my membership live and broke a needle doing the nose of my little Pika, which I haven't broken a needle in a long time. I was quite surprised. Okay. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more to the top. I want you to be able to see the gold. I'm excited for dinner. It was Sonic Smash Burgers kept coming up on YouTube last night when I was watching, and like, you know, a burger sounds really good, and like I haven't been out of the house in like 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. So I found some hamburger in my freezer and pulled it out, and I'm making burgers for dinner. We don't have any rolls, but I'm not really trying to eat low carb, so that's okay. Ketchup, mustard, and pickles works for me. Let's add just a little bit more. And considering I haven't done a whole lot of cooking in the last 2 weeks. And if you're really ambitious, you can make little coins to put on here, but I'm not going to do that. All right, let's see how it looks. Lettuce is a good bun. Yeah, I don't have any lettuce, though. It's not lettuce season here. I don't tend to buy stuff out of season. All right, I can bring it down just a little bit. There he is with his little pot. I'm actually going to kind of squish it a little bit here. Okay, we'll attach that later. I'm going to make his hat next. Put this stuff away. Step out for a bit. Okay, no problem, Barb. Have a good evening. Okay, now, I hemmed and hawed about what color to make his hat. I want to make it green, but I didn't want to make the same color as him. I had this leaf green, but I didn't really like how it looked for a hat. And then I have this forest color, but that was too dark. So I actually blended the two of them together and kind of got this not quite so dark green, but I think that will work better for a hat. So I think that's what we're going to go with. And I just used my dog sucker brushes and blended it together. So that's what we're going to go with. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the brim of our hat. So I'm going to make a little circle, or try to make a circle here. Might need to add a little bit more. We're going to pull in the outside edges here all the way around. Just to get around. You could also, if you wanted to, cut out a piece of felt in a circle and then felt over that. I'm not poking really hard because I don't want it to get stuck in my mat, so shallow pokes. Using my 36 triangle here. So I'm going to very carefully peel it up off my mat. I'm going to see size-wise. I think that's a good size. Alright, so we're going to go over this a few times, get it nicely felted. I might add a little bit more to it. We're just going to turn this over a few times. I'm going to add just a little bit more to it. It's a little thin in a few spots, so just going to add a layer here on top. Just gonna rub it in my hand here a little bit. Okay. I'm going to put my finger guards on, and I'm gonna go, not gonna push in a lot because I don't want it to get too much smaller, but I want to kind of clean up those fuzzy bits here, so just go around very carefully. You can also, if you wanted to, just fill a sheet and then cut a circle out of it. Make sure that we didn't get too small. Nope, I think that's going to work. Alright, so I'm going to go over this now with my 40 spiral. I want to get this really nice and firm. So this morning I was sitting at my computer desk, which is just over that way, and all of a sudden I heard all these birds. And I was like, what in the world? And there's trees right behind our house. So I looked out, I couldn't see anything, but my goodness, there must have been a whole flock that flew into our woods back here. I went out to the kitchen. My daughter was sitting at the table eating her breakfast, watching something on her phone, so I had her turn her phone off and listen, and it was like crazy. They were so loud. But then I went outside not too much longer after that to go feed the chickens, and they must have moved on because they weren't as loud as they were. It's nice to hear the birds coming back into the area. Hi, is it Jutta? I don't think I've seen you join my live before, so welcome. Where are you from? It's an interesting name. I've never heard that name before. Okay. So let's see how we're looking here. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to set on here. I might have to like maybe dig out the center of it a little bit. But we'll see once we get the rest of it done. Aw. Yeah, I really have downsized. I used to have like 20 or 30 chickens, and I downsized. I only have a dozen now. Of course, 3 of them are roosters. My daughter was supposed to give me, I switched out some of my older hens for younger hens last fall, and my daughter gave me some that she had raised. Only 2 of them ended up being roosters. Now I have 3 roosters. Germany, okay, very cool. All right, so now to do the top part of his hat, I'm gonna roll this into a sausage shape. Do you needle felt? It wants to be round, so I'm gonna turn it. My great grandparents came from Germany on my dad's side. So it must be, what, about 7 or 8 o'clock over there? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke in the top here, make it flat. I think I'm going to add a little bit more to it. We'll see how it looks on our base. Nice. Well, welcome. I'm glad that you've joined us today. I just love this little space where I get to meet people from all around the world. It's so cool. Who knew 40 years ago that you live in Louisiana? Who knew 40 years ago that you'd be talking to people from around the world? So you're from Germany, but you live in Louisiana in the US or in Germany? All right, I'm just going to check the size here and see how it looks. So I definitely want to go a little bit bigger. Before I do that, I'll show you guys what I've been working on here. This is a little turtle. This is a little turtle that I made for, I think, my next library class that we're going to do. I'm going to do another one. With a different type of shell, and then they can have a choice of what they want to make. So I just did that yesterday, and then I finished my bee for my niece. And if you saw my post yesterday about the pink flat thing that people thought looked like Pepto-Bismol, it was actually to make this little tulip. So this is going to be a tutorial that will be coming out as soon as I get the video edited. His wings actually has some Angelina fibers in it, so it's a little sparkly, but that's my little bee. So there will be a tutorial coming out for that, hopefully next week. We'll see how. Thank you. USA, okay. Very cool. All right, so now we're going to add a little bit more around this. So it must be hot down in Louisiana. I think lengthwise, I think we're good. We just need to build it out a little bit more here. Oops. Okay, hold it. I think we need to go a little bit more. Oh, thank you, Kate. I've been wanting to make another turtle. I made a turtle, like, it was actually one of my very first projects that I ever made was a little turtle. And he was as hard as a rock because I had no idea what I was doing. So I've been wanting to make another one, and I was trying to figure out what to make for my next library class next month, and I was like, oh, let's do a little turtle. So I'm going to do another one that's a little bigger, more of a sea turtle. So a flatter shell, and then they can have their choice of which one they want to make. So I need to work on that so I can get the pictures to the library. Spread this out here. And let's see how we're looking. I can add more. We're going to attach it, and then I can add more if I feel like I need to. So just open that fluff from around the bottom, and I'm going to attach it to the brim of our hat. Can you make the turtle on one of your lives? I'm actually thinking about, I might do a tutorial for YouTube with it when I make the next one. So that's what I was thinking. I might do a tutorial for that because it doesn't take very long to make. So I just have to remember to turn the camera on when I'm making it. Okay, let's see how we're looking here. I think I want to definitely go a little bit bigger. Just looking at the shape here, it's a little wonky over here. Let's push this in a little bit more here. It's a little harder to do with the top of the hat on there. And we're going to add a little bit more. Definitely a little bit harder to do when you got the brim on it. So, next week we will start our April critter. And I think it's going to be, even though it's going to be done way past Easter, I think we're going to do a little bunny holding an egg. So, we'll have them for next year anyway. I was trying to remember at my class because I took the groundhog with me to my class. I'm gonna put a thing on my finger here because I'm poking down into this, and so I was telling them about my critter of the month. I was trying to remember what all critters I had planned. But I'm not going to tell you guys. You're going to have to wait. But I will tell you April will be a bunny. Alright. I think that might work. It's a little closer to the edge over here, but I'm going to put that in the back so you won't even notice. a supply for the bunny. So yes, basically I'm gonna make our bunny white. So you're gonna need some core wool and some white wool, and then whatever color you want to make your little egg. He's gonna hold a little egg, so whatever color you want to make your egg. And I'm not sure if I'll do glass eyes or not. We'll see. I like the glass eyes. Okay, I'm going to add a little, like, belt, or I don't know what you want to call it, going around the bottom of his hat here. So I'm just going to take the dark mocha color that we've been using. I'm going to flatten that out a little bit. But it's going to be pretty simple. Not a lot of colors or anything. I haven't made a white rabbit before, so that'll be interesting. So I'm going to fold this in half. Fold it up a little bit more here. So just making a little band to go around the bottom. Hopefully this will fit all the way around. Okay, so it's gonna go. All right, so this is the back. So I'm gonna start this in the front and then go around. Okay, so I'm gonna attach this down along the base to start. We have enough to get all the way around. We do. Might be a little thin here in the back, but I don't think it's too bad. Okay, so I got it attached to the bottom, so I'm going to just kind of bring this down just a little bit and attach it across the top. And then we're gonna flatten it down. Squish it a little bit because I don't want it quite so tall. And then I'm going to make a little gold buckle on the front. Or attempt to. See how this works. Alright, so that's my back. This is my front. So I'm just going to take my little gold here. Just make a little square. and bring it across the front, bottom. Alright, now it's got a little buckle. Now let's see if it'll fit on here. I'm going to, in the center here, going to poke it in a little bit. Get a little bit of an indent. And hopefully not mess up my gum around there. So I kind of want it to sit over that little bump that we have on his head, and I think that'll work. Alright, so now we're going to attach it. Now I don't want this part of the brim to be attached to the head, so I'm just going to poke it right around the base here. I might need to go over our gold buckle a little bit. Let's see, I actually want to bring it off a little bit more. Like that. Push it down a little bit. Alright, let's add this pot of gold here. Yeah, I think I want to, let me see, just wondering if I can make a shamrock. I am not sure if I want to do it with the green or if I want to do it with the gold. Let's see if I can make one or not. I'm not sure. It might be kind of small. If it doesn't work out, I'll pull it back off. Just doing a little outline here. I could, I suppose, I think I probably have, actually, you know what, let me check and see. Hold on one second. I have my, have these stencils here. Let's see if we have a shamrock that's small enough. Not sure if it'll be small enough. Maybe. I think that's the smallest one there is here. Let's try it. So I'm just going to take a couple pins to hold it in place and hopefully not stab myself. And let's try this and see if it'll work. If it doesn't, I'll just pull it back off. I don't want it to be really thick because I don't want it to show up, like, you know, really stick up off the pot too much. So I'm just going to go with little bits here. So these are kind of like using a cookie cutter. You find sometimes they help when you want to do like a shape on something. Like I'll use them, sometimes I'll use the heart one. But I've gotten pretty good at making hearts. These little stencil things are available on Amazon. I have in my Amazon store, which you can find the link in the featured section of my page. I have a link to my Amazon store, and they are in there. Mine actually came with my very first kit that I got off of Amazon. And if you buy from my link, I just earn a little bit from it. There's no extra charge for you to use my link. And it just helps me to provide these free tutorials for you guys. So I'm going to round the edges. I'm okay if it's not totally solid, as long as it kind of looks like a shamrock. Alright, let's see. Okay, some of the stem there isn't quite belted down, but we'll get that. And so we're going to clean it up a little bit here. So it kind of looks like a shamrock. That just made it a little bit easier than trying to do it freehand. It looks real. Yeah, it's gonna kind of trim that a little bit. Need a little bit more down here on the stem. I'm hearing music. If my daughter's playing music rather loud, which is kind of unusual for her. Or if my neighbor's playing music really loud. Okay. Think we got it. Alright, let's get his pot of gold in his hands here. So I'm going to, you could sew this on too if you felt like just felting it wouldn't hold it secure enough, which I might do. We'll see how it goes. But you can just run a piece of a needle and thread through there, and you can make it, you can cover up the knot and stuff like that. I think if I go through his fingers here, We're going a little bit over today, but we're just about done, so. And then I can also belt it to his body here on the back. And that'll help hold it as well. Now I really need to go find out where that music is coming from. Okay, I think that's pretty secure. And I think our little Irish frog is done. I like how he turned out. I like how the pot's kind of tipped a little bit. Let me see if he sits. Oh, he does. Yay, so he does sit. So, there is our March critter for St. Patty's Day. Our little green frog holding a pot of gold. So like I said, if you wanted to actually make little gold coins, you could, but that's a little bit more than what I want to do for this guy. So I think he turned out pretty cute. So thanks for joining me, my friends. And like I said, next week we will be doing a bunny for Easter, holding an egg. Like I said, the colors, we're going to do a white bunny, maybe some pink in the ears, whatever color you want to make your Easter egg. Thank you, Jean. So anyway, so that's it for today. I hope you guys have yourself a good evening and weekend, and I will see you guys back here on Thursday next week, same time. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.